before uniting mankind? I will be still. Coward! Repent!
I am here bringing you my #1 recommendation for a 3.17 League Starter. It is my favorite League Starter of all time. I've League Started it, I think, 4 times at this point. It has always been a smashing success, and the changes in 3.17 only make it just a little bit stronger. Without any surprise, especially if you saw the thumbnail or the title, you know that this is my Bane Occultist. I've been playing this build for almost a year at this point, and I know it very, very well in and out, and it is always old trusty. In 3.16, I killed Cirrus on a 30 chaos budget, and once you put a little bit of money into it, you can trivialize basically all non-aspirational content. To me, it is the quintessential definition of the best League Starter, and especially the best beginner-friendly League Starter. There are no crazy mechanics. You don't have to press a ton of buttons. There are no mandatory uniques, and once you do get that one unique, the Cane of Unraveling, for between 1 and 50 chaos, honestly, worst case, you're able to do basically all of the regular endgame content. As you can see by the length of this video, this is not a full build guide. I have a playlist that is in the description below that is like 12 plus videos that goes into extreme detail about this build. Very, very little is changing in 3.17. So all you have to do is follow that 3.16 starter guide, where I even go through, here's day 2, here's day 3, here's week 2, here's the progression. If you follow that with the PoB that I also have linked below, you will be able to do absolutely everything very, very comfortably. However, I do have a couple tweaks that I spent this morning working on that will also give you some options to customize based on whether you want to do more damage, get a little bit more defense, or even remove some of that ramp up time for making sure that you can get the most damage ASAP. Just wanted to reiterate really, really quickly, if I didn't make it clear enough already, this is not a build guide. This is an amendment to the 3.16 build guide. The link to that playlist is below. It is 99.999% exactly the same. These are just the tweaks that I would recommend. So anyway, let's just get straight into the little tweaks that I made, and I hope you are excited to play Bane if you either haven't tried it or you just want to play it again and have an absolutely killer, budget-friendly, very, very easy, beginner-friendly League Starter. So let's get into it. All right, so starting off, what do we know about the changes coming in 3.17? Luckily, this entire build was very, very barely touched. The most notable change is the Spreading Rot Jewel, which we are currently using to make both Blight stronger, get a little bit of damage, but also be able to inflict Withered with Blight, which in combination with Withering Presence lets us keep up very, very close to max Wither stacks incredibly deterministically. The primary change to Spreading Rot is going to be the cast speed of Spreading Rot goes down dramatically, which means that you're not going to be as easily able to maintain as many Blight and Wither stacks. However, a nice little change that they did do, which is just quality of life, is they modified the base secondary duration of Blight's Hinder to be 1 second instead of 0.8 seconds, which means that even without Spreading Rot, the Hinder is going to stay longer on them, and it's just a nice little defensive layer. So what do we do to build around this? What I like to do is when you see a nerf, look at what the other possibilities are. Maybe there was something stronger you could have been doing in the past that you were kind of relying on this thing that was like a local maxima of power that, hey, why not just use something else that might be just as strong, if not stronger? Let's look at the options. So what I did is I just replaced the Spreading Rot. I just chaos spammed this jewel, like 5 chaos or something. Obviously, you would go for something with damage over time, max life, res, and chaos dot, anything like that. This is just a regular, simple little jewel, but you can already see that it gives me increased damage over time and some res, which effectively is the same exact amount of increased damage that I would be getting, as well as some other modifiers. However, generally all chaos builds really rely on Wither for making sure that they get some decent damage. So how do we get Wither stacks? So Withering Presence is nice to just kind of get those Withering stacks going, but how do we really just push it forward and increase that ramp up time? So this morning, I just spent a few minutes, rolled an absolutely bottom of the barrel ring. This was like 3 chaos, and then I threw in a Divergent Withering Step. What Divergent Withering Step is first of all, Withering Step by default will inflict 7 withered debuffs the first time an enemy is entering that area. So we can just hit Withering Step, and then when an enemy enters this circle, they will get 7 weather debuffs right off the bat. Then with Withering Presence, we'll start getting those stacks up very, very nicely. Then we can continue doing that as Withering Step is up. This will let us even more easily maintain our Wither stacks. I'm using Divergent, 20% chance for the buff to not be removed on skill use. That just means I can Withering Step, and then 1 out of 5 times when I Flame Dash, it won't immediately remove that buff. An alternative is to use the Anomalous version, which will give you 9 Wither stacks the first time an enemy enters the area, which is really, really nice if you just want to get those stacks up right away. So you can absolutely use Spreading Rot, especially early on if you have some gem pressure. Now for regular map bossing and stuff, also using Spreading Rot, in addition to the Withering Step, will actually be a nice little bonus, which will allow you to basically hit max Wither stacks very, very quickly, and you'll actually have instantly fully ramped up damage that will let you kill map bosses really, really quickly. However, when you're fighting big bosses, Cirrus, Maven, Searing Exart, Eater of the Flesh, whatever those guys are named, I would rather have the faster casting on the Blight. Blight stacks are our single highest source of damage right now, so I really don't want to use Spreading Rot to lower that cast speed next patch. This is just an option that you can choose depending on if you're more map boss centric or more end game boss centric. Now, the other big thing that I'm going to be recommending is getting Armour. So while going entirely evasion and energy shield based with Ghost Shrouds, getting some spell suppression, that felt really, really nice in 3.16. After playing around with Determination and Armour and playing hardcore in December quite a bit in the endless races, I am a full convert in trying to get as much armor as possible in my builds. While evasion is really, really nice, especially when combined with Ghost Shrouds, just getting that armor up there, it really smooths out that spiky damage that might be coming in, and it's actually incredibly easy to sneak it into this build. And so for my proposal, I'm actually going to be removing Malevolence and then replacing that with Determination. In addition to that, we're actually going to move to hybrid armor and energy shield bases primarily, but also just trying to have enough evasion so that Ghost Stance is still very, very comfortable. Because we almost necessarily have to go to this area on the tree, we want wasting. Charisma is actually a no-brainer when we're over here. It's actually very, very uncomfortable to try to get to these really, really nice armor nodes. And so because we're over here, we're looking at armor and evasion as kind of very complementary things that we're not going all out into, but we're going just enough so we have very, very smooth and reliable incoming damage. Since we're already using the Crown of Inward Eye, which has really, really nice armor, and we have the option of using Apothecary's Gloves. And if I rolled better ones here, I just spent like 10 chaos rolling this morning. If I had even better ones that had higher armor and higher energy shield, it would almost be enough already to just be usable. My proposal here is to go for flat armor and evasion on your Stygian Vise, as well as use a hybrid armor and energy shield base for your body armor. The two other considerations are, we have new implicit modifiers. I can't tell you what the perfect best in slot gear is going to be because we don't know what all these implicits are going to be. There might be one here that says 30% increased effect of Malevolence and +3 max res. Something like that. If you want to go really, really defensive and still get some more offense, that might be better than a +1/+1 and possibly cheaper to craft. We don't know what these are going to look like. So I am just going to make recommendations based on what we know in 3.16, but we have to keep our eyes open for new possibilities and new fun things, new options with our gear. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We already saw that they teased Chaos Dot as a modifier on gloves, which, depending on the level of investment on your character, might be better than Apothecary's Gloves. And then the one little thing that folks are worried about is they did add a Chaos Resistance aura to rare and magic mobs. That will show up once in a while. That's just the thing that you have to deal with. Once in a while, a mob will be a little bit harder to kill, depending on the size of that aura, right? Until we have the numbers, we don't know if that's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable or just 100% A-okay if it's just like 10 to 20%. So all I really wanna point out here is you can see that the physical effective hit point pool here is 26,422. That's because we have very, very little armor and we're relying entirely on grace. Now, while we do have a good chunk of life, energy shield, and we also have Ghost Shrouds, a really, really big fizz crit coming in will hurt, and that's basically what's going to be killing the Bane Occultist right now. I changed the base type of the armor to an armor energy shield one from evasion. I switched from evasion gloves to Apothecary's Gloves, which have armor as well. I added in a granite flask, and then I replaced Malevolence with Determination, and that gets us to 95.2 thousand EHP against fizz hits. And in fact, that's even stronger than our elemental EHP. So that is just really, really good news. That's the one thing that I found might be a little uncomfortable for folks that are just getting a lot of hits, maybe flame dashing into packs or something, getting hit a lot. And by getting endurance charges on a ring mod and getting all that armor, it's gonna feel way, way more comfortable. You can see that I am still at, moderate investment, 3.5 million DPS. If you want to, you can drop Discipline and put Malevolence back in, as I said before. That brings us back up to 4.8 million DPS, and we're still at 87.8k EHP. We actually don't lose that much by dropping Discipline. That's probably what I would really recommend for like the end game configuration. But if you want as much defense as possible, and especially until you get an Enlighten because the mana will get really tight, you can keep Discipline, drop Malevolence, and put Determination on there. All right, as always, we gotta start the ending with the cat shot. For all the folks that enjoyed Bane in the past, or you're thinking about giving a shot, I think it's going to be even stronger in 3.17 with more possibilities, more options, and just more fun. I have played Bane for the past year, and I'm very, very confident in recommending it. If you want something that is just easy, approachable, and cheap, and a solid, guaranteed good League starter, this is my recommendation. I'm going to be playing the Arc build for myself, but if I just wanted the strongest League starter that I know of, counting everything out there, to me, this is really best in slot for League starters. Highly, highly recommend giving this one a shot. So if you do, definitely let me know how it goes. Pop in the Twitch or the Discord that are in the links below, and I'm happy to answer questions, review POBs, all that. Once we get into the league, I want to make sure that you all have the strongest possible league. Cannot recommend this build enough. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I wish you all a wonderful and happy 3.17 league start. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye. And as always, super duper, mega, super special thanks to all of my patrons. There have been a couple new ones in the past couple days, and I just wanted to absolutely extra thank you all. If you are interested in becoming a patron with some extra bonus content, please go down to patreon.com/subtractem for Tricky Nick, Don, Michael J, Robin K, Sailkite, Aaron White, Colin, Experdidius, Gazer1990, Martin Borat, Michael Rack, Nikolai, Ozon F, Pro Carlson, Six Ink Andrew, Alex B, Bifrost50, Lee Arvanitis, Marcon, and Satchin S. As always, thank you so much. You all help make this possible. Could not thank you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.